Welcome to Growing Younger Health and Fitness podcast designed for people over 40.
Hello team, it's Gavyn and Alex here from Growing Younger, and today what we're going to talk about is footwear. So Alex and I, obviously, dealing with all of our over 40 clients over the last few years or so, there's always becomes an issue with shoes. So I see it with people wearing the wrong shoes for the gym and running, and they hurt their knees and ankles and shoulders. So Alex is going to talk about in a bit of detail today of what kind of shoes to use. He's going to go over it, the mechanics, and just let you know so you can be well informed. So when you do go to the shoe shop or training shop, you kind of got an idea of what to do. So Alex, over to you. What are the best shoes for people over 40 working out?
Yes, right. Hi guys. So look, just again, it's like as a physio, I see this all the time. Like people, one day they wake up and they realize they are overweight, they need to get fit, and then they start exercising, which is great. Like and people come to us as well to for a bit of help. Now, quite often we'll people don't move enough. Okay, so we tell them to become more active, to start tracking their steps, and so people start to walk more. Okay, and in certain cases they might even start to run. Okay, problem is, like they still, like, they've got their casual shoes, whatever they are, Skechers or some other kind of casual footwear. They are not actually designed for this purpose, and especially it becomes very kind of important when especially if you're carrying extra weight, significant extra weight. Now, in those cases, you really want a shoe with good cushioning, with good arch support, because all these things, they help to cushion the impact of your body when you're walking, when you're climbing stairs, especially when you're running. Okay, so if you are, like, say 20-30 kilos overweight particularly, you really want to make sure that the shoes that you wear for exercising, especially walking and running, are pretty much up to scratch for what you're trying to do. Okay, and again, another mistake is people go to their local sports shop, which is very generic, and they'll just, the way they choose their sports shoes, they go to the aisle with shoes, they point their finger at the one that they like just visually, and they grab it off the shelf, and that's it. That's the purchase made. Okay, so there's a little bit more to it than that. Okay, so these days, fortunately, there's a lot of science that goes into shoemaking, sports shoemaking. Okay, so as you might have heard, there are people who pronate, there are people who supinate, there are people who neutral. And then again, all these things happen when you're standing. They can also happen when you're moving, when you're walking. Okay, so all of this stuff, it's important to take into consideration when you're choosing your footwear. So my best advice is, if you are relatively new to exercise, or if you're experiencing any foot pain, heel pain, knee issues, go to one of those specialized shoe stores. So, if you are from New Zealand, it would be Shoe Science, Shoe Clinic, or Athlete's Foot. Maybe there's a couple of others, but those are the kind of the main ones. What they'll do, and you should probably insist on them doing it, is that when you walk in, ask them to test your feet. Okay, so either they'll put you on a pressure plate, okay, and this is like the basic testing method, or they could actually put you on a treadmill. And some of these stores, they actually have the specialized video equipment. So they'll look at the way you position your foot when you're walking or running. So this is the best thing, okay? Because you could be doing one thing when you're standing, and it could be a different thing when you're walking or running, okay? So then they'll take all this information into account, and they'll say, okay, for your style of walking, for your feet, we recommend this particular model, okay? And as I said, like, the shoes come in different shapes and sizes these days. There's shoes for flat-footed people. There are shoes for wide feet, narrow feet, all sorts. With people with bunions, people without bunions. So all these things, you can actually find a shoe that suits your situation. Okay. The most important thing is to get properly assessed, properly diagnosed, and then you'll be able to get the one that you need. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the main message, is don't treat footwear as just something that needs to look good. It needs to be the right functional fit for you.
Cool. I got a couple of other questions for you on that. So there's three questions I've got, so maybe you can answer them. So I'm not sure if if you know much about the bare feet kind of shoes. Like, have you seen those ones with the 5-finger shoe, 5-finger things?
Oh,
So,
yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
So how beneficial are those? Because you see them on Instagram and internet all the time about these are the best things. You need to be grounded with the floor, all that kind of stuff. Like, what's your sort of stance on those?
Yeah, so it's actually, this kind of trend has been around for a while. I'd say probably 15 or even 20 years. So Nikes have, I think they're one of the first ones to come up with those. So they used to be called Nike Freeze. So they're designed to mimic barefoot walking. Now, there's definitely some rationale behind it, because it helps to strengthen, your what's called intrinsic muscles in your feet, okay? So they help to basically strengthen your toes and your foot muscles. Now, this is great if you can cope with it. But what the negative side to it is, like, if you got bad feet, like let's say if you got flat feet or high arches, and especially if you carry a bit of extra weight, then you take those shoes and you start running straight away. Now those shoes don't have much support at all, so you could actually end up with an injury. Whereas you could probably, you'd be better off using shoes that have good arch support, traditional shoes with an arch support. That will be much more beneficial for you. So over time, if you're feeling comfortable with normal sport shoes, then you can possibly, as you get more comfortable, you lose a bit of weight, then you can transition into those kind of barefoot type footwear. But especially if you're starting to run, I would not use them to start running.
Sure, that's good. So the next question I've got, and I do this myself, so I got 2 pairs of trainers essentially. So I've got gym trainers, which are relatively flat, like these things I've got on here, which you can't see. And I use these for lifting and squatting and deadlifting and things like that, right? Then I've also got running or walking shoes then, which have got a higher arch, which are a bit more cushioned. So would you advise people that, depending on like the kind of exercise they do, to have different trainers for each scenario? Would that be fair or not? Or will the same one do both?
Well, look, I mean, for running, you just need running shoes, right? So you just need to make sure, and look, they don't last forever. So generally speaking, if you run regularly, they'll probably last you about 600k.
Oh,
that's a bit of a.
Not much, is it?
Yeah, so it's actually not a lot. And look, this is in the ideal world, this is what you should be doing. Okay. So again, like if you're going to be using them for the gym, and if you do like a lot of squats and deadlifts, you are probably going to wear them out quicker.
Okay.
So for that purpose, you could have one as a good pair of running shoes purely for running, and then maybe a kind of a more, a more just a gym shoe maybe, or just kind of a casual pair for gym work.
That's good. I find that quite helpful for me anyway. And the third question I've got really is like impact and poor trainers have on the ankles, knees, and the hips, like back, because obviously everything's stacked, the joints are stacked on each other. Like does it have a significant impact, or is it not as bad?
Absolutely, and it's probably more so for those people who don't have ideal feet. And by the way, most people are flat-footed to a certain degree. So what is normal? So it's almost normal to have a bit of flat-footedness. So if you have an ideal foot, which doesn't happen very often, it probably matters a little bit less to what kind of footwear to wear. But for most of us, having a bit of arch support will be beneficial, because it actually helps to cushion the impact. And yes, it will, because when you're walking and you put your foot down, there's a certain amount of impact that goes right through your kinetic chain. So that's your ankle, your knee, your hip and spine, and even all the way to your head, right? So if that process is cushioned right at the beginning in your foot, so that impact is going to be less all throughout your whole body. So that's why having good shoes, people tell me quite often with back pain, wearing the right footwear actually helps to alleviate back pain,
right,
even though the back is quite far from the foot, right? So it's because of that, all right? So I guess, absolutely, like the right type of footwear. And again, you don't actually know what's right for you until you go and get tested, all right? But good arch support generally is beneficial. If you have an existing shoe that you kind of love and it's still, you haven't done the 600k yet, and you don't really feel like spending another few $100s on it, what you could try is go to a chemist or pharmacy and just get a pair of sports insoles with arch support, and just try it out. Like you might feel like actually it makes a big difference to your comfort or discomfort levels when you're walking or running. So that's kind of a short-term solution, I guess. If you like, this is the kind of the most expensive, the highest level option. Like some people's feet are quite, well, I guess you could say in a bad state. Okay, so you've tried the insoles, doesn't work. You tried the good, picking the right shoe, and it doesn't work. So the last resort is to go and see a podiatrist, and make sure it's someone who specializes in sports, like a sports podiatrist, and they can look at your feet, they can do some tests, and they can give you customized insoles. So those are like they're actually made for you. Now those things are not cheap, but if this is the last, you've tried everything else and everything else fails, then this could be the option for you as well.
Awesome, that was really good. Actually, I always like listening to what you got to say. I always obviously learn a lot as well. So yeah, that is a little podcast for today. So if you've got any questions, team, about shoes or anything, I guess you can message us, I think, can't they? Through the podcast, or
just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Growing Younger program, and just private message us.
Good. Have a good day, guys. See you later.
Take care.
Okay, guys, so I hope you found the podcast of value. If you did and you're struggling with your own health and fitness journey, there's a link in the description for a free discovery call with me. And that free discovery call, we're going to cover off a little bit about you, your history, your goals, what you want to achieve, and maybe we can help you or not with your own health and fitness goal. So if that does sound like something that you'd like to do, then click on the link in the description, and I look forward to chatting to you in the very near future. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.